If you're a shitty marketer, you have to become a world-class salesperson. For 15 years of my career, because of the instruction I was getting, didn't pay attention to marketing at all, so I turned myself into the Michael Jordan of selling real estate. I could list 100 homes a year. I did that 10 years in a row. Did 200 deals a year twice, because I didn't understand this. But if you understand this, I can make $1 million a year being a world-class salesperson. I can make $10 million a year doing this. So you just gotta be all the way in, and you gotta see the value, and you gotta be willing to, because here's the other thing I'm noticing is that the barrier to entry is getting bigger. So it used to be you could just flip your camera on and talk, and that worked. That doesn't work anymore. You have to have captions. It has to be quality video, right? If you watch YouTube Shorts, it's got to get attention. You have to edit it proper. Like, the barrier to entry is getting harder. And I think it's only going to increase. Because this gentleman said it's the new TV. I believe that that's true. But will you watch a shitty show on TV that has shitty camera and shitty lighting, and somebody on there that's going,
"Hi, this is the 5 ways to do an inspection"?
You will not, right? So and you can get into this inexpensively. If you go onto Fiverr, you'll find people who can edit your videos. And yet, spend a little on a camera, and it's consistency over time. So it took me a year. I went from 2,000 followers to just close to 10,000 now. I went from touching 8,000 accounts to 250, $250,000. That is 4 football stadiums worth of people watching me every month. I can sell lots of things, right? So you just gotta really buy into it. The tools that you need. You don't really need more than your phone. iPhones are ridiculous, right? But you need a camera, you need some lighting, you need a microphone. Stop shooting videos without microphones. They cost $25 on Amazon. It's a little lapel mic, you stick it here, it'll make you sound like a rock star. If your video is crappy, people won't watch. Doesn't matter if your audio is crappy, they won't watch. So you need a little microphone, it costs $25. You already have the phone in your pocket. You need ideas. Now, the interesting part about ideas is people think they have to create all this stuff. You don't, you could just document what you're doing. It's documentation. The way I started this is when I was setting appointments, I would just flip the camera on and record it. That's it. I'm not doing, you do cool shit all the time. Nobody can see you do it, right? So flip the camera on, have the presence of mind. Oh, I can flip the camera on right now and just record this, right? And then I need someone to edit, chop, and post. If you're serious, if you want to go all the way in. Because there's some people in the room that still do it themselves. I'd say everybody in the room still does it themselves, except people that are all the way in, which is like 3 in the room of everybody else. But you start to think with your DIY mentality, because 65% of us came from parents that live paycheck to paycheck, I'm gonna figure out how to edit this myself. Good for you. And after 6 months and you post fucking very little, I'll be at like 20,000 and you'll be at like 300, right? So you don't need that much. Cumulatively, between this might cost $300 a month, somebody to send you ideas, roughly, that could probably be included, the microphone, and this. And then it's just consistency. It's volume over time. Most people don't produce 1% outcomes because they drastically underestimate the volume of activity that's required over an extended period of time. So if I told you could get all the attention that you want, which equals, but you had to post 4 times a day for the next 10 years, would you do it? Yes. Yeah, you guys say that shit. You can also, there's this thing called ChatGPT, where you could say, hey, act like a real estate agent, a top producing real estate agent in Plantation, Florida, and give me 10 videos that people would want to see. And it'll go, and then you could go, now act like Mr. Beast and give me the titles and the thumbnails for those videos. And it'll go, and you'd be like, act like a TV producer and give me the actual script for each one of those videos. And it'll go, guys, there's no excuse, none. It's just insecurity, fear, and I'm not all the way in. I don't understand its value, because the things that you make time for things that are important. Do you brush your teeth every day? Mm-hmm. Why? Because it's important. You ever like, nah, screw that brush teeth thing? Do you do that with this though? Yeah. And the real reason so you tell yourself this story that it's all these other things, when it really is you're just insecure about it. That's all it is, right? So here's with ChatGPT. I'm a residential realtor in city state with a YouTube channel. I create videos to educate people on buying and selling in blank. And I explain what it is to live in blank. Please write an 8-minute video outline for blank. It does it for you. And it'd be any easier, guys. Now this is $1 million right here, okay? All the ideas you need for a whole year. What's the cost of living in Plantation, Florida in 2023? Pros and cons of living in Plantation, Florida in 2023. X things you need to know before you move to Plantation, Florida in 2023. Guys, this is gold. If you haven't taken a picture of this shit, like, all you guys are like, I would watch that shit, yeah. Does $500,000 get you in Weston in 2023? Nothing. Yeah, a shack, like an outhouse. What does X amount give you in sub-community? But this is, bro, if you do this, these are all your videos. And by the way, you could just interchange the year and repeat, rinse and repeat next year. Do you see? You have everything you need. But now it's just a matter of this, you declaring that this is important. Now, I want to share with you a few things because I know that this is also something. Look, perfectionism is the fear, that says objection, it's wrong. Perfection is the fear of failure in disguise. Perfectionism is the fear of failure in disguise. You're just afraid of failing. And it's unfortunate that in our modern school systems, we still have this environment in which if you mess up, what happens? You get punished. That's fucking stupid because the way we learn is by messing up. When you learned how to walk, did you get slapped on the wrist because you fell down? Can you imagine? How many people have children? Can you imagine as they were walking, like the first time they stand up and fell down, you're like, God damn it, what's wrong with you, bro? Like, seriously, man? By the way, does that baby read the 10 ways how to walk? How do they learn? How many times do they fall down? Thousands. Takes like to a year for them to figure it out. Because how does it start? First they stand up, fall down, cry. Stand up, fall down, cry. That happens for months. Then they stand up, remember when they hold this and you're like, oh, they hold onto the table. Then what happens? Fall on their face. Then they stand up and they're like, boom, fall down. And then one day they go, oh, and it's like, oh, they fall down. It takes a while. But perfectionism is the fear of failure in disguise. And the other thing you guys are deathly afraid of, which I know is true, is getting feedback from people. I'm going to read the comments. Actually, I'll pick somebody to read the comments. So this post got 76,000 views. Okay, I want you to understand something. That is 90% the Miami Dolphins stadium filled with people watching. Okay? Who wants to read the shitty comments? This is great. Let's pick some here. Yeah, I was going to have Natalie read, but you can read. You have a big voice. I need you to stand up and read. Okay. Just scroll down and read all the comments, okay? With this one right there. Loud and proud.
Okay. Hung up with all that extra talking too scripted. I have hung up before while I have you on the phone. While I have you on the phone, click. A motivated seller wouldn't be complaining about getting too many calls. I love when people say, I appreciate that. No, you don't. Mostly good, but as a high D, you talk too much. After the first sentence, you lost me. Jesus Christ, I would have hung up so fast. Best way to make money in real estate is to sell courses to real estate agents, which you responded, and to sell 2,000 homes in your
Because the person who wrote that is sitting in their mom's basement playing video games.
They would have hung up long ago. Great job. Solid, and I like it. If he actually removes people from the list as promised, if they tell him off. Otherwise, he's just another lying sales guy. I would have hung up 1,000,000 times. It's actually embarrassing how hard they try. This conversation ended the second I found out I didn't ask for the call.
Hate is inverted admiration. You know what they're really saying to me? I fucking wish I could do that. But you guys let it stop you. Why should I care what somebody in their basement thinks? Why? You know what I mean? Like, I find it so unbelievable that instead of reaching out to me and asking me questions, look, Jack Harlow has a verse in one of his songs. He's like, look, when everybody loves you, there's only one way to stand out, which is to throw stones. You understand? Like, you guys have to just get past this. You all have gifts and abilities that you're not sharing because you're afraid of somebody saying that your beard is fucking whack, or I don't like your shirt, or you know what you're talking about, or your hairline's too high, or like what. Who cares? In the Bible, it says if there's a lamp that's lit, you don't put it in a closet. Put it on a table so it can shine light to everybody. Stop putting your lamp in the closet because you're afraid of what people will say, okay? With that, I will open it up for a few questions, comments, concerns, if you guys have any, with regards to everything that we discussed today. Yes?
I'm one of those guys with like 800 followers on social media.
Yeah.
I'm not scared of the camera.
Yeah.
There's definitely maybe some insecurities about not getting likes and follows, and I
Yeah.
feel like about really good content.
Sure.
And getting like 60 likes.
Yeah.
And it's kind of bullshit. Being said, I really want to get into podcasts.
Yeah.
I started building out an area in my home to do this.
Good.
Full candor, I have a real estate license.
Yeah.
My bread and butter is mortgage.
Sure.
I own a mortgage company. I want to get started with a podcast, and the idea of starting a YouTube channel with nobody following it and getting 0 views and putting hours and hours into this podcast, I don't know where to start.
I appreciate your authenticity and your honesty because I know that, look, there's heads nodding, like your experience is true for everybody. Story's one, story's ball.
Right.
So I had 245 episodes I was 45 episodes deep with 250 subscribers. Just kept doing it. Now I currently have almost 1,500 subscribers. I don't know if you know this either. Only like 20 million channels out of 150 million have more than 1,000 subscribers. You know, podcasts, like something stupid, like 60% of them never get past the first episode. What I've learned is it's really about, if I go on there and I add value,
Right.
a lot, like tremendous amounts of value, then over time through consistency, it'll come, it'll grow. So like I could have easily stopped, and it hasn't been till recently, but the other thing I was doing, which was wrong, I didn't have anybody editing any of my stuff. So if you look at my thumbnails from a year ago, they were bad. Now they're good. I didn't have anybody editing with captions. I didn't understand.
In the US or offshore?
They're out of the country, but
They do good work.
they do awesome work. Yeah, if you're interested, just DM me. Like I'll give you access to the company. But let's say you're watching a YouTube. People's attention spans have been obliterated because of TikTok. So you have to edit the beginning of a YouTube like a TikTok. So I start off podcasts. I used to be like, hey guys, welcome back to the Novello podcast. When you do that, I watched on the analytics, 60% of the people fall off. They just disappear because it's boring. Instead, I just interviewed my personal trainer and I said, chicken. Something that is a staple in so many people's diets is actually really inflammatory to their system. That's something people are like, what? What do you mean? Chicken's bad for me. I eat that shit all the time.
So do I.
So, but you see how it captures your attention, and we edit it that way at the beginning. And what I've realized is like, there's like a 10-foot wall to get past in 30 seconds. But if you can get them to watch for 30 seconds, they'll watch for 45 minutes. You just got to get past right? So there's all these different things to learn. So you clearly have the ambition and the passion. I think educating yourself. Again, I got proximity to somebody who's doing it at scale, who gets millions of views every month and has 6 businesses that do over $1 million a year. And social media is the main acquisition channel for him. So I can learn how to do it, but then I need a team. So if you have the equipment, I need a team. Then I need to just focus on adding like as much value as I can, and then understand the equation V over T. It's volume over time. So it's most people, you separate yourself from the pack just by willing to keep going. And then it's just a matter of time. So like I'm just now approaching 10,000, but 2 years ago it was 2,000. But I guarantee you a year from now it'll be like 30. And my future self will be pleased that I kept going. So that's what I would suggest.
We door knock our open houses
Good.
a lot of times, and we used to get flyers out on the door knock, and the back of the page was always blank, so we started adding what's going on in the neighborhood,
Yeah.
like micro marketing the neighborhood, what's happening with market status, or what's happening with the park, and invites to what's going on. And they would keep our flyers, and they would come to the open house with our flyers, so we get a lot less people throwing them.
Well, yeah, and here's what I would think, like I would hand them a flyer, but it has a QR code, and the QR code takes them to a video of the community. And write that shit down, bro. See why your boy makes the big bucks, baby. You see, it takes them to a QR code, and then they get to a landing page, and they can put in information for the updates. But on the landing page, it has 3 videos on it. One about a market update, the most recent market update. Another was like the benefits of living in this community, none of that, right? And what you're doing is you now become the expert in the community, hyper-local expert. Any other questions? I think you had a question too, yeah.
In reference to earlier, you were talking about the avatars. But what do you do if like the avatars a wide range of both male and female demographics? How do you make the content to succeed with both?
Yeah, so I think you can still get clear on some demographics as far as like age. We also, like Sonia, she noticed like the majority of people, she's Caribbean, and the majority of people that are moving to Port St. Lucie and buying new construction are Caribbean. Because they all are asking her about culturally what to do in the area. I'm like, well, they're telling you what content they want. So if you started to produce that content, they would watch, right? So I would just kind of continue to like who's doing the business. And then even if it's like they're grouped together, I can still think to myself, like what are they motivated by? What are they interested in? You know what I mean? I can still start to segment out even as a group if I didn't want to niche it down to gender. Does that make sense? And I think too that if you really get into your, you really get into the analytics, you will see that one emerges more than the other. It's usually not 50-50. That's my experience. Yeah. Yes?
Hi, good morning. My name is Valerie Denal.
Good morning, Valerie.
So I don't have a problem doing videos and saying whatever needs to be said. My issue is I can't even it takes me a half hour to figure out how to post something on Instagram.
Okay.
I get frustrated.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, okay, I'll do it tonight when I'm sitting on the couch for 5 minutes.
Yeah, so my suggestion would be is the solution. Remember how I said about being all the way in? Most people don't want to spend money to have somebody help them.
Yeah, but who's that person?
Okay,
who's
there's
that?
two sources. One is you can go to a site called Fiverr.
Yeah, okay.
Go ahead, tell me what your concern is about that.
Fiverr?
Fiverr.
I think she's asking like who to choose.
No, I'm saying I don't know how to even do it.
Yeah, I get it. So if you go to Fiverr and just type in video editor, and then
Video editor.
yeah, video editor. That's what you want.
Okay.
And then it'll pop up. You'll have choices, and you pick one. And then they'll edit videos like on a per video
Right, but
basis.
then I have to take the video, and that's a part.
So what you'd have to do is you'd shoot the video and then drop it into like a Dropbox file. So here's what's happening. You're gonna have to learn some stuff. So I think there's only a few things you need to learn. Like one, if you go to TikTok to be like how to turn my YouTube camera into a professional camera, all these videos show up. And there's different settings that you can put on the camera that'll make you turn into HD, right? So that's one.
TikTok, how?
Two, turn my iPhone, because you have an iPhone, into like a professional camera, right? Then go on Amazon.
And buy a
Lapel mic is $25.
I already-
Then, after you shoot the video, figure out, watch Google again, or put a TikTok in again as a search engine, and say, how do I convert a video on my iPhone and put it into Dropbox? Most people aren't willing to learn new shit because they're afraid of failing. But that's the part of the barrier to entry to this. Literally, I had to call my sister 2 years ago and be like, what's a reel? Like, what's this thing? I felt like a grandpa. Like, how do I use this fucking app? What I'm aware of is business is an infinite game. It's ongoing. So business will be here long after we're gone, and it was here way before we're here. If I want to keep playing at a high level, I have to adapt. So there's three types of intelligence that I think are important. Intellectual intelligence, your ability to learn things quickly. Emotional intelligence, your ability to connect with people emotionally. And your AQ. Do you know what AQ stands for? Adaptability quotient. Okay? So Darwin said, it's not the fastest, not the quickest, not the strongest that survive. It's the ones that are the most receptive to change. We're living in a time where things are changing very fast, very quick. A lot of people feel like you, like it's super overwhelming. But what's true is if I don't take the time to learn it, here's what's true. If I spend 100 hours on something, I will know more than 95% of the population. It's 100 hours. You guys spend 100 hours on Netflix in like a month. It's just taking the time to learn. And will it change? Yes. But if I'm committed to playing at a high level, then I will adapt with the change. Does that make sense? Yeah. And people who don't adapt, what happens? They get left behind, bro. Yeah. Kodak digital camera was going to take over 10 years before it happened. They had the patent on it. They couldn't bring themselves to cannibalize their business. So now they disappeared. Blockbuster knew. Actually, they didn't know. They were very, they had a lot of hubris and overconfidence. They didn't see it, which we'll talk about in a minute, as far as EXP is concerned. So I would just encourage you to embrace it. You're smart. You figured out how to survive up until this point. Okay? You have intelligence. So it's just something new, and with time you'll learn it, and then you know what'll happen? All your friends will be like, hey, how do I do this? What's also not true is that frustration is not bad. You just start figuring something out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Good.
You know what I thought was cool? The lady who had that, I guess the affirmation that she says every morning is live every day as if it were your last.
Cat Williams said that. He's like, yo, if you can at the end of each day, before you go to bed, you're like, all right, this could be the last one.